with G Suite. Um, sorry, Miss Johnson. I can't help with that. Let's get into it. So that's presented by me, Joy Blake. Thank you, Miss Wallace, for helping. So who am I? My name is Joy Blake. I'm the manager of STEM implementation and supports for the CPS STEM department, Chicago. So what that means is I help implement STEM programming at the 51 STEM and STEAM schools in the district. I've been a teacher since 2005. I also worked as a Skyline math curriculum designer, and then I worked as an instructional technology specialist. So if you randomly hear my voice in a Skyline badging video, that was my job as well. And so I loved helping people, and all the things I'm going to show you today, I use all the time. So I'm a Google certified trainer, Apple learning. I'm an Apple teacher, Screencastify coach, and a Peer Deck certified coach. So let's get into it. What we're going to learn today. So learners will be able to learn techniques to simplify and organize their lives while using G Suite products. Now, trust me, I just put the word organized there because it sounds like the right word. Trust me, I'm not organized. Believe it or not, I think I only have 72 emails today. But on average, I have thousands of emails. But I do have some shortcuts, which I'm going to show you today. And then the second part is learners will learn techniques on how to use Google Keep, Google Tasks, Google Calendar, Google Forms, a little bit of Google Docs in there, and Gmail to increase productivity. So here's the rules of the game. Please use the raise hand function. I do pause for questions, so don't worry about it. And I typically always stay after as well if there are questions, so you don't have to worry about that. Carly, I can't wait till you're at STEAM school. And also make sure you remain muted. If you unmute, guess what? I'm gonna mute you. So just don't even do that. And then the last thing is, if you have questions, again, I'm gonna leave room for those at the end of the chat, like after each section. And then I do stay after, and I'm the only Joy Blake in the district. So if you're like, man, what did she say? I forgot. Just chat me or send me an email. There's a pretty high chance I will help you. So let's get into the Blake basics. What are you gonna see? How can you use it, and why I know it works? So today, primarily, you're going to see me showing you how to do it. So I'm not just going to tell you about it. I'm going to show you where it is and how to use it. And then from there, how you can use it is in your daily work, daily life. Like as a teacher, if you're a student in your own business, so many different ways you can use some of these tips. And why I know it works is because literally everything that I'm showing you, I use on a daily basis in the work that I do. So I highly encourage you to try some of this stuff out. So there's 4 things we're going to do. Here's the order. If you click on my website, it does not work. I need to update that. So I'm just giving you that heads up. But moving forward, Google Keep. We're going to start with Google Keep. Then we're going to move into Google Tasks. From there, we're going to go into the monster of Gmail. And last but not least, we're just going to go into all the other components that are Google products that have little shortcuts. So let's get into Google Keep. Now, I love Google Keep so much because it's also on my phone. So I use it at my job. I use it in my home life. I use it in so many ways because the same app that's on my computer is also on my phone. So it's kind of like a good way for me to integrate. So basically what Google Keep is a note-taking app. So it's like a digital Post-it. So because it's a digital Post-it, you can use it on your computer, but you can add in videos, hyperlinks, images. You can draw on it. You can do so much. Miss Turner, do you have a question? Okay. I'm not saying that. So I'm going to put the link to the presentation in the chat. And then, so anything within my presentations usually can link you there. So if you want a shortcut, just click on this Keep link and it's going to take you to keep.google.com. So there's 3 ways to get to Google Keep. Let's start there. How do I get there? But before I wait for the demo to get you to that. So why should you use Google Keep? First, like I said, it's a digital post-it. You can use it on your phone. You can use it on your tablet. So it's like interactive in that way. You can add in videos, images, links. You can share it with others. So you can make a collaborative Google Keep note, and you can draw your thoughts, and students can also draw. So it's really interactive, and it's like short bites of like information that you want to keep. That's why it's like called Google Keep. Like if it's something you're like, man, I really like this article, I don't want to just make a Google Keep. So in my job, a lot of times I'm in so many meetings, so many meetings. And because I'm in a meeting, sometimes somebody will say something like, oh, that's a good quote, or I like that article. I use Google Keep. Or when you're in a virtual meeting, sometimes it's kind of hard to take notes as you're in the meeting. So I'll use Google Keep as like my note taker, because one other component of Google Keep is any notes you take, you can add to a Google Doc. So now it's time for me to show you. Let's demo. So if you want to kind of play around with it with me, just click on the Keep icon. Otherwise, you could just watch and learn. And after I demo, that's when I'll take questions about Google Keep. So let's get into the 3 ways you can get there first. So as a CPS employee, you have Google Keep in your toolbar on the far right side right here. So if you want to so for instance, this is what I mean when I'm like, I'll be in a meeting and I'll be taking notes, because the meeting might be going on right here. And then I'll just open up a Keep note and take notes. And one cool thing about Keep, if you have a document open, it'll automatically attach it to the Keep note. So if you're like, I just want to find this document quickly, just make a Keep note. Or for instance, like I said, you could take notes. But the first place you can find it is in your toolbar on the side. It's right here. The second place that you'll be able to find Keep, just sorry for my background. Well, I'm really not sorry. My son made this background for me, and it does say, remember your goals. So I hope this is inspiring for you, as I believe it's supposed to be for me. And so another way you can find it is by clicking on the waffle, which is right here. And when you click on the waffle and scroll down, there's also Google Keep right there. So that's another place you can find it. And last but not least is if you just put keep.google.com, that's where you can find all your Keep notes as well. So for instance, as I said earlier, I use Google Keep in a collaborative way. So Coley Blake the fourth, that's my husband. So what I have is like, I'll make like a Keep note. Clearly, maybe he's booking me a trip, because that's my travel TSA pre-number. And for some reason he's on there. He was just on there July 15th. So let's go somewhere. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But you can make it collaborative and share with other people. So if you click here, you can make a note and like add as many people as you want, and everybody can like make a note. Like, so for another way that we use it is like for our grocery list. Like our grocery list is a Keep note, because you can put it on your phone and you can both collaborate and add items. So if you notice, the reason why this is at the top is because you can pin Keep notes. So if you want a note, if you want a note to be like the first note you see, you can pin it in this upper right hand corner, and then it'll be there. And then if you don't, it'll just go to all the rest. But as you can see, I have so many Keep notes, like so many. So like if it's something that's really important, I'll try to pin it and put it to the top of the page. You also can add, like, for instance, like I know that for anybody in here, just so you know, the Art Institute has free tickets for teachers. I put it in the chat. But that was something I was randomly in a meeting and somebody shared it in the chat. So the main time that I use Keep notes too is when I'm in Google Meets, because when people share random links in the chat, I never can find them again. So I'll just make a Google Keep of all the, like today I was in a meeting. These random links are just all the links that they shared while I was in the meeting. Save me time, and now I know where to find them. So if you want to, you can remind yourself of this. So as you can see, this is September 26th. So I'm going to click on Remind Me. And when I click on this, I can do today, tomorrow, next week, or I can pick the date and the place. So if I want to put the Art Institute right here, I can. If I want to remind myself that it's September 26th, I can. And I can put the time and just help. And it's like an easy way to say, I did not mean to put today, but you can like delete it and it just goes away. But that's like a way you can remind yourself from the notes that you've created. You also can add colors. So if you're somebody that's into colors and backgrounds and like that helps, like if you're doing groceries, maybe you want this to be, I think that's supposed to be a carrot. I don't know, but you can add different backgrounds. You can add different colors to your keep notes. And then the other thing is you can add like an image to your keep note, or you can add a label. So just like your Gmail, you can categorize your keep notes. I haven't gotten that organized yet to put them in categories, but some people really are organized, and I would highly recommend like do it if that's what floats your boat. I personally hate this random grocery store thing, so I'm just gonna take that off, and then you don't have, it's just a plain white or purple background, like if you wanted a color. The other thing, so let's get into like how to make a note first. So I showed you some features, but once you get to Google Keep, you can take a note just by clicking here. You can give it a title like demo. And then you can, please learn this and use it. So then you just write down the random information, right? But then you can also like add in check boxes. So if it is like a list, you can put in check boxes like tomorrow, today, forever, forever, and then you can just check it, and it'll go like to the bottom to completed tasks. So if it's at the top and you check it, it doesn't go away. It just goes to completed tasks. And if you want to, you can archive. You can hide the check boxes, or you can archive it, and it'll go to the left-hand side and archive. The other thing that I use and sometimes use is the drawing tool, especially if I'm on my phone and I'm doing like a grocery list. You can add a drawing to your keep. So you can do like a heart. You can do different like types of drawings. You can do a thin one. You can change the color. And then too, you can like clear the page. And when you click this, it just takes that drawing out. But since Jamboard is like going away, that doesn't really work like that. But you can also like add in different types of background. So with students, like with my daughter, she gets bored super fast. And I'll give her like a keep note. And then she can just literally like draw with the dots. And you'd be surprised how long a 5-year-old will draw triangles on dots like this. So you can do like dots, you can do squares, you can do ruled lines, or you can do none. So that's something that I really like about Google Keep. And then it'll save it. I'm going to block this out. Sorry that was there. But it'll save it to the keep note that you created. And you can just like type around it. You can continue to draw. You can add a collaborator. You can still add the colors and everything. And you can add in like a YouTube or a picture or whatever you want to do. So those are things that I like about it. The last thing I just want to demo, and then I'll take questions, is, for instance, like this is an email I had to send about Apple Learning Coach. I can't send this information in a keep note, so I would go to here and I can copy it to a Google Doc. And as you can see, it's like copying over, and it's going to make a Google Doc that will be saved in my drive. And now all the information that was in there is now in the Google Doc. So now I can like edit more or add more to it, or like zhuzh it up if it's like something I want to do. And that's like one way that it's like integrated. So that's what I meant when I was saying you can share it to a Google Doc. And if you're like, dang, I deleted something, like where is that at? It also has version history, so you can go back in time and like go back to what you put previously within your Google Keep. So I really like Google Keep in my personal life. So for instance, I just always like to share this with people because people get confused. Right now, this avatar is my work email. If I switch and go to my personal email, I'm going to have different Google Keeps. So if you're looking for something and you can't find it, there might be a chance that you're randomly like in your personal email instead of your work email. So always like check between the two, because these are different Google Keeps. I just wanted to share this with like my personal with you, because I use Google Keep with social media a lot, because you can just pre-write your posts within the Google Keep, like on your computer. And then when you're on your phone, all you have to do is open up Google Keep, copy the text, and then copy it into the post, because nobody wants to be like, as you can see, I have like 30 hashtags right here. I'm not going to type all the, so I type them on my computer and then I just copy it into my social media post. So that's another way. That's why I really like Google Keep. I just do. They need to keep it. Get the pun? They need to keep it. Okay, I'll take questions now. Are there any questions? 1 minute. 1 minute for questions. Any questions? I don't know if Miss Turner has a question. Is there a way to say something directly to Google Keep, kind of like pinning a pin? Ooh, Miss Smith. No, sorry. That does not exist. You need to write Google, Miss Smith. You might make some money. That's a good one. They don't got that yet. They do have it with Google Tasks, but they don't have it with Google Keep. I'll take one more question. Okay. Well, people come up with it takes a while to process, so don't worry about it. I always come back to it, and I always stay to the end for questions. All right, so let's move into the next one, which I believe, Google Tasks, a great tie-in. So Google Tasks is basically Google's form of like a to-do list or a task list. So it's a free to-do list. It is integrated within more things. So like if you're in a Google Doc, you can assign a task, and then that task can then show up on your calendar. If you're in a Gmail, you can assign that Gmail to your task list, or why am I calling it Gmail? If you're in an email, you can assign that email to your task list and then add that task to your calendar. So this one is a little bit more integrated. The only thing that makes people get lost with tasks is that it does not have a separate website. You can only like see it in your toolbar or within like the product. Like if you put in task.google.com, as far as I know, it doesn't come up the last time I checked. If it does, great. I guess I'm wrong. So anyways, the one thing I want to say is like, it's a to-do list. As I said, you can add a date, you can make it repeat. You can assign it to someone, you can add it to your calendar. And then I like that you can have multiple lists. So you got, like for me, I have a list, personal list, I have a kid list, I have a list for like the tech stuff I do, things of that nature. You can add it. So I'll start with first, where do you find Google Tasks? So I put a link here if you just want to click and go right away. But I think I'm not certain if it works anymore, so I wouldn't recommend clicking that. But when you go to your toolbar, there's tasks. So it goes calendar, keep, tasks. So tasks are right there. You also can find them in your waffle. But this is so I'm gonna go to because this is my like personal. Let me go to my work email, which is here. So if I go to my task list, click on those grants. But anyways, if I go to the task list and see how I have multiple lists, and then I can you can rearrange the list. You can put summary revisions. You can have starred, and you can create a new list. So if you're really organized and you like having lists, so for instance, my kids list does not have stuff related to my kids. It's all work stuff, but this helps give you an idea of what it is. You can link in documents. So let's say we all have that Safe Schools training. We know it's coming. You get the email about it. So this is an example of how I was within an email. So see how I'm in this email here, and here's my icon to add it to the task list. So if I'm like, ooh, grant spotlight, I need to remember this email and I don't want to search through my 86 emails to find this, I'm going to click on add to task, and now it has just went to my task list. And I can quickly just click, like if I go Let's go into here. Let's see. Let me find. So if I go back to my tasks, oh, it doesn't show here. I just was trying to show you that you can click on, oh, I know what I can do. So if I go back to my email here like this, if I want to go back to that email that's attached here, I can just click here and it's going to open up the email, and I just need to scroll down and there's the grants. So that's what I meant when it's like integrated within your Gmail. So you can assign, and then if you're like in a, for instance, if I'm in this document and I want to quickly find it, I can go to my tasks, and it's gonna, like, if I add a new task while this is open, now this is my personal email, but see, if you're on your CPS, let's see, maybe I'll go here. If you're on the CPS, we bought the version where it does it. So if I go to tasks and then I create a new task, it typically should attach. So maybe I messed that up a little bit. But I know that I can go to tools, and you can go to tools and there's the task. And you can like assign something over to a task list. So I think if I highlight it, go to tools, go to tasks, it didn't work. I need to work on that one. I know it can do it, but I haven't actually used it, so please don't judge me. But I know that it's integrated in some way. Give me time on that. I'll come back. But that's one way. And then also, so if I'm in so let's go back to my list. Anything that you actually finish. So I finished this safe school training, but before, maybe you have task options. So you can rearrange like which list you want it to go to, or you can add a sub list within a list. You can move this up to the top. So those are some of those features. But one that I like that keeps me a little is that you can add it to starred. And when you put it within starred, that list is an automatic list. You can't get rid of it. But anything that you star here will appear under starred. So you can find it quicker. And that's like a quick way to prioritize like your list and what needs to get done. But let's go back to like, okay, let's say I did it. Once I click it, it does go away. So I do want to make you aware that once you click something, it does go away. But if you want to add something to your calendar, so for instance, if I make a new start task, like presenting today, I'm going to make presenting today. I can put today's date, which is the 5th. I can set a time when it needs. So when did I present? Let's say 2. I can make it repeat, like if I'm doing, and I can decide like how many days it needs to repeat and how long. And then I'll click OK. All right, so now I have this task. It's going to repeat, it has a date. And now this is where the integration with your calendar comes in. So if you're using the sidebar, you're only going to be able to see like a day at a time, or you can like move throughout the month. But if you want to see your full calendar, you just click this and it'll expand it into the full calendar. And when it expands it into the full calendar, you'll see a calendar right here called tasks. So any task that you set will be here. If it's unchecked, the task will not appear. But once you check it, any task that you create will appear on the calendar. So maybe if I change this to month. Okay. Oh, well, let me do it back today because it just took a little bit. But if you see how it said presenting today at 2, it was a task. It's going to show up on my calendar. And if I go to like the week view, because I made it repeat, it's going to show up like every day until I don't want it to anymore. So that's what I meant when I was talking in reference to like integrating it into your calendar. And if you're like, I have too many tasks, I'm tired of seeing it, just uncheck the calendar and then it will be gone. And that's the case for any calendar you have, especially your Google Classroom calendars. Turn those calendars off because it will make your calendar like explode. Are there any questions about tasks? The only thing I do want to share is like, if you're in a document and someone, I got it. Okay, I'll come right back to you, Ms. Glass Gibson. So if I'm in a document and let's say your principal or another teacher like comments something to you, they can assign it to you. And sometimes that also shows up as a task to you. So I just wanted to say that caveat. Okay, go ahead, Miss Glass Gibson.
Hello, I wanted to know, can you use tasks from your phone, like create the task on your iPhone?
Yes, you just have to download the app. So you can download the
Okay.
Keep app, Task app, Calendar app. Yep, great question. Any more questions? Go ahead, Miss. I'm just going with Virginia. Is that
Virginia is what I prefer. Thank you.
okay?
So there's probably no one that can solve this problem for me. It's probably just a personal like preference. But the problem I'm trying to solve is you're sitting around table with, the people you manage, and you're like, I really need you to get a new quote for the auditorium curtain. They look you directly in the eye. They're like, got it. I'll do it. And then they forget, and so do you. Which would you use, Keep or Task, to remember that you even asked them to do something for you in the first place? And I know it sounds like I'm kidding, but we manage so many people and everything. I just for people that are hard to manage, if it makes sense, I forget what I asked them to do, and I'm looking for solutions to that, which may be internal. Anyway.
Well, that's a great question. I think, let me just first share the presentation. I believe her first name is Raven in the chat. And then I
I
will
did miss the first 10 minutes, so sorry if you already addressed
No, 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 no. Somebody else asked for it. I just don't want to forget. But what I would recommend, or what I do, and it helps me the most, is I use comments. Between all three, to me, comments are the easiest ones because, well, there's two things I use. So if I'm on this, I 100 for my team, I use comments, and you can, I don't really use the assigned task because the reason I like comments is because you can assign it to the person. That's one. And then two, you get an email when the comment is made. And then you also get an email when it's resolved. And so then it's like, somebody went in there. So I use comments. So that would be my first choice above, because task to me is more for your individual self, not for others. You can assign tasks within like a Google chat, but like, who's doing that? And then it's just like weird. I would, and then the only other thing I like to do is you can set up within any Google product, you can set up notifications. And so you could set up like a notification that will send you an email letting you know that the person went in there. And so like if you have like a Google sheet and it has like let's say you have a Google form and you're trying to see did somebody complete the form, you can just set up like a notification and it'll send you an email like someone has gone into this form, and it'll help you to like check. So those are the two that I would recommend. Okay. All right, let's keep going. And then if there's more questions, I'll come back. All right, Gmail, holy moly. Let's get into Gmail. It's so much we can do in Gmail, but it's something we use every day. Let's shorten our time by creating filters, templates, and more. So I put up here, it's a revolution, a Gmail revolution. Before, you had thousands of unread emails. Now, we're going to label, filter, and snooze them bad boys. Snooze the emails you don't want to read. I do that too much. Next, you type the same email over and over again. You don't need to do that. Now let's use templates. Let's use email drafts. Let's save ourselves some time and energy. And last but not least, you wait to send emails until the appropriate time. Don't do that anymore. Let's schedule send, because nobody needs to know that you're up at 4 a.m. doing work. Just schedule send. If you ask anybody on my team, they literally probably get about 14 emails every day at 8 a.m. because I schedule send emails because I don't, you catch my drift. So let's get into Gmail. Most of our time will be here because there's so many. We all use this, and I just wanted to show you some of the like shortcuts within Gmail. So the first shortcut, let's talk about chat. So as you can see, my husband randomly sent me a chat. If you don't want chats to make sound, if you notice when his came, it didn't ping or anything. First, you just put on do not disturb. If you want to be specific, you can add a status like I'm in a meeting, or you can add like a time. And then when I first left the classroom, my students would chat me all the time. Miss Blake, I miss you. Miss Blake, when you coming back? You can, if you have this green light on, they're going to know that you're active. If you don't want someone to know that you're on your computer, you can turn this off by either putting that do not disturb or set as away. But as long as that green thing is filled in, they're gonna like know you're online. So that's the first thing. And then again, there's the notifications. You can set it up so it just shows up on the side. You can set it up so that it pops up. You can set it up so many ways. You can set up a window of when you get chats, all that stuff. I highly recommend using that. Start there because I get tons of chats, and I love chat. So I just want to share it with everyone because that it cuts back on time. So that's one. The next thing, I've never went into a Google Meet from Gmail, so I just don't use that. So let's just move on. So if you're in your Compose, these are all my labels. I have so many labels. If you're not using labels, I highly recommend use labels. Is a way to categorize emails, and you can add multiple labels to one email. So an email, for instance, could be in Pear Deck, Payroll, and Oracle, and you're guaranteed to find it somewhere. So I highly recommend, if you're not using your labels, please use them. The 3-dot portion here is where if you're really into color, you can add colors to your label. You can hide labels. Like, for instance, if I didn't want you all to see all my labels, some of these I could hide. And that's the same in your message list. And that's where you can remove labels as well by clicking, like if you're like, I have too many labels, you can click here, and that's where you can remove or add a sub label. So for instance, maybe I have a STEAM schools label, and then a sub label would be like elementary, high school, or something like that. You can organize it in that way. Now, if you're wondering, how do I even get a label? If you're in an email, like here, this is my recording from earlier, I can move it automatically from there by clicking move to, and I can click the multiple labels I want it to go to. So if you wanted to just go to one, you go to move to. If you wanted to go to multiple, you just click this label icon, and that's how you can get it to go to multiple ones. But I don't have a Googlepalooza one, so I'm going to go to move to, create new, and I'll put Google. I think I already do, but it's fine. I'll put Googlepalooza, and maybe I want a sub label, and I want it to nest under you have to make it ahead of time. You can make it nest under another one, but let's say I wanted to nest under like presentations or something, but I'm just going to do art for the sake of time. So I can click create. And once I have that on the side here, I'm going to be able to see a Googlepalooza label, and it's going to be under also art. So if I go to art, I should have Googlepalooza. Oh no. Okay, let me try again. Go back. Oh, I already have a Googlepalooza label, my bad. But if you once you click move to, you can double click those and create your labels. So that's one example. And then once I click on Googlepalooza, that email goes out of my emails. I can go to the Googlepalooza thing right here, and then I'm going to find that recording right there for me to share with everyone. You can move it in and out. So that's where you first access your emails. Now, one thing that people have a lot of is almost everything is starred, or this random little arrow thing is filled in. It automatically happens for some. I don't know how to turn that off, but once this is starred, that means that it's going to automatically go under the label. There's a label. So when you open your email, there's a label called starred. And any email that's under there that has that star filled in will be there. And then that's the same for this little thing. This means important. Any email that's filled in will go under important automatically. You can't get rid of them. But for some reason, for me, I don't know how to make it not fill these in, but it does do that. And then another shortcut is this little arrow here. If you're trying to get rid of all your emails, just click that and it'll highlight them all. You can delete them all, or you can change it where, okay, I just want to see the ones I haven't read yet. And then it'll show up the ones that are bold, or I can show the ones that are unread, vice versa. So I always like to use that, as well as this over here, organizing it either from oldest to newest or newest to oldest, is a way that like cuts back my. Now keep in mind, Google is like a search engine. So anything you're trying to find, just use search. Don't waste time scrolling through. The quickest way, just search for it. That's what I always recommend. So if I'm inside of an email, and I just wanted to show this because this is an example, as I was saying earlier, about a notification. I set up a notification that lets me know anytime somebody fills out this form. And as you can see, I got an email letting me know somebody filled it out. And I can click here on the form and it'll tell me like who filled it out. But if I'm trying to add this to my task, I can click here and it'll go over to my task over here, and I'll be able to easily find the email. So that's one thing. Okay. If I want to be like, you know what, I don't want to read this right now, I can click on this right here, this snooze button, and it's going to snooze just like an alarm clock, and it won't show back up until the time that I select. So if I say later today at 6, it's going to disappear from my inbox. And then if I want to find it again, I can just go to snooze, and there's my snooze email. And I can just like open it, or I can like click on the time and unsnooze it. It's up to you. Like you can unsnooze it. It's just your own preference. So you can see there, you can unsnooze, and then it'll go back into your email box or your inbox. And then two, one of my favorite things is like I'll randomly be at taekwondo with my kids or like at cheer practice, and I'll be reading through emails. But sometimes if you read through emails, they become unbold like this, and then you can't find them because they're all in this red email area. So what I like to do is if I'm somewhere else and I want to make sure that I get back to that email I read, you can click on this button here, mark as unread, and it will become bold again so that it will let you know you haven't read it yet. So then it won't mix in between the two. So if you notice, my inbox is set up in a way. So that's another component. Set your email box up for success. So either that works best for you. I like to do all unread emails together, and then everything else is down here. So that's how I set up my email box. And so you can do that by going to your settings and then just doing unread first. Or if you're like someone who likes the stars, do star first. Or if you really are like to customize it, customize your email. But by doing those little things, it will cut down on your workflow because you'll know like where to find stuff, which is really important. So let's get back into finding stuff. If I put Googlepalooza in the search engine here, the Gmail is going to search for the first 5 emails that have Googlepalooza. If you're like, oh, I don't see it, just always press enter. And once you press enter, every single email you ever had that had Googlepalooza within the year, because your emails delete eventually, will show up. And then if you want to advance the search, just always make sure to put quotations around it, and then you'll get an even an even better search, and it'll just search for those words. And then let's say you know it has an attachment, but you don't remember anything else, just click that, and now it's going to bring up every Googlepalooza email that had an attachment tied to it. Or if you know what time it was sent or who sent it, or any of those, like use these features here to search. It saves a lot of time. So now let's get into another level of your email. So let's say, for instance, you want all your emails from your boss to go to a certain spot. So my boss is Kelly Easterly. So I have Kelly here, and here's all the emails I have. But every time she sends me an email, I want it to maybe go under starred, so I don't lose it. I don't accidentally delete it. So I would go here, and then I can put create filter. So if I click create filter here, it's going now, any email I get from Kelly, if I say star it, it will automatically be starred. If I say delete it, it'll automatically delete. You can have emails from your personal email be forwarded. If you use this filter feature, you can put it automatically in a category. You can automatically give it a template or a label. Like, let's say maybe I want every email that I get from Kelly to go to do STEM updates because she's my boss. So it's like I can automatically like sort it every single time, which cuts back on me on the time that I have to use. And so that's a filter. So I highly recommend using filters. You can do it for words, you can do it for email addresses, but it just saves a lot of time. So I highly recommend use your email filter. So the last thing is the templates. I just want to show you how to create an email template, which saves you time. So if you have a new email, so I already had templates set up on mine. So if I click on the 3-dot menu here, I'm going to see templates. And these are all the templates that I've made in the past. So for instance, I have to approve, let's say you have a student that's missing homework. You can click the missing homework template and it's going to give you the subject, turn it in from Ms. Blake or whatever. In my job, I have like emails that I have to send over and over and over and over again. So if I'm like, for instance, if I'm like, okay, I don't want to copy paste, like in the past, you may have just constantly copy pasted the same email. You can just use templates and then it will just generate the email. And all you have to do is just change like that name, for instance, and then hit send, put the people in, you're done. So those are called templates. So let me show you how to make them. So if you don't see templates, when you open up your email, a new email, and if you don't have this 3-dot here, that means that you don't see templates. That means you didn't enable it. So to enable it, you go to your settings. You're going to go to see all settings, and then you're going to go to advanced. And when you, let me close this out so you can see it. When you go to advanced, you'll see templates, and all you need to do is just enable the templates. And then once you enable them, you'll be able to like use that feature. Just make sure you click save changes, because I've seen people not click that and then they don't have the templates. So when you go to compose, let's say you've enabled the template, and let's see what's one. Let's say I want a thanks for coming to my session template. So I can send this to everybody that's come today. And I'm just going to say thanks from Joy. Okay, so this is my email that I want to put as a template. In order to do that, I hit the 3-dot menu. I click templates, and then I'm going to save draft as a template. And then I'm going to start as new template. So when I click start as new template, it's going to, whatever you have in the subject, is going to make that the title of the template. And then I'll just click save. Okay, so now I can close out, or I can send it, whatever I want. And now when I click compose, I'm going to go to the 3-dot. I'm going to go to templates. And now, oh, there's thanks for coming. I click on it. Wow, it's there. And then, of course, you can schedule send. So if you don't want it to, like, our session is still happening right now. So I don't want to send it now because that's just awkward and random. So I'm going to schedule send. Oops, sorry. Oh, you have to have a recipient. So let me put myself. And then you're going to schedule send. And let's say we want this to come tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning. Or let's say I want it to still come today, but I want it to come at 4 o'clock. And then I can schedule send. And now that email is going to come to the recipient at 4 p.m. And if you're like, if something, let's say this happens to me a lot, maybe something changes, or like you want to edit the email you scheduled, you can go here and go to scheduled, and you'll be able to see, okay, I have 2 emails scheduled. You click on this, and now here's the thanks for coming to my session. And I can click on that email and I can cancel it from being sent at that time. So I can put cancel send. It'll give me the option to like edit it in it anyway. And I can either send it right then or change it to a different time. Okay, I see a question. Go ahead. Is it Tanya?
Yes, I have a quick question. How do you say groups of recipients, like for your children's, the parents,
Oh
for
yeah.
the staff
So
members?
yeah, so if you can create, if you're using your CPS, you can create a Google group. That's a separate like email, but you can create, if you go to groups.google.com, that's where you can create like a Google group. Or you can also just use the contacts. So if you go to contacts.google.com, you can create, like, for instance, I created a group where I have all of the schools I serve and all the emails together. I have one just for the specialist, one for the AP. So you can make like all the contacts, all your contacts in a group, and you can just put them all in and give it a title. And then you can, when you go to, like, for instance, this is the team that I manage, the STEAM team. So when I send them an email, instead of having to type all their names, I just start typing ST and their STEAM team, and they just all come up. And then it just saves time. I should have shared that as a tip. Great question. Okay, I think I have the order, so let me go in order. It's Miss Muhammad, then Miss Hiltz.
Hey, Joy, thank you for all of this good information. Quick question. Is there a way to be notified if your email is read?
Is it like if someone logged into yours as you?
No. So I sent an email to you and
like a receipt, like a
Yes.
text. Ooh, good question, Ms. Muhammad. I don't know. Ooh, I don't know. Ms. Muhammad, I don't know. I think, ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I know you can block people. Oh, okay. Let me just see. Now I can't stop. If you go to, I know if you go to send, that's where you can see any email that you sent to someone. And then if I go here, I don't know. I do not know.
Can I chime in for a quick second?
Sure, go ahead. Yes.
There's something called Yet Another Mail Merge. That's like an add-on you can get. And you have to put your recipients in a spreadsheet, but then it'll track like opened, bounced at such and such a time, whatever, which is awesome. I'm a counselor, so I use it a lot when I send like mass emails. And, inevitably somebody's going to be like, I didn't know that this was happening. And we were like, oh, we called you at this time. You opened the email at 2:52 on the 2nd, whatever. It's helpful to have. So that's, let me see if I can find the actual link. And it takes a little practice, but that has been really helpful when we're sending like mass communications. It's probably kind of tedious if you're trying to find out if like one individual opened your message, but it's nice when it's like a big group.
Yeah, there's another one called Mail Track. It's another add-on. So there are add-ons that do that.
All right, look at y'all Gmail pros. I'm learning something too. I appreciate that. I don't think you can do it within actual Gmail. I would agree. I think you have to have a like add-on. All I know is like you can randomly like block people from Gmail or report it as spam, but I don't know if you can see if it's been read. So thank you so much for the people that chimed in. Oh, they turned off. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Virginia, then Christiana, and then I have one more hand after that, but then that's it. Virginia? Okay. I don't know if she, okay. Christiana, is that, or Christina?
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Going into the contacts discussion is something I really struggle with as far as distribution list goes. A big school. I know there's other ones out there in CPS, so we're always hiring. People are coming and going. So maintaining an excellent distribution list matters. And it can't be all manual. So for example, even when I look at Google Contacts, it looks like I have to assign labels. I just want to type in 29151 and have it be a current distribution list. Does that really not exist anymore? Because it did 15 years ago.
I've never seen it. I have not in my time, but
Because how about like all LM principals when we see that, or all principals, or labor relations ES, or whatever? Someone knows who works at my school. Like the CPS website is up to date right away.
I'm sure the
So-
Google administrator, like there's a Google administrator.
Because right now, or I guess maybe I could just open it to the floor. If other people, like, how does Lane Tech possibly keep up with a distribution list? Is what's on my mind. As an example.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I just know there is a Google admin, and maybe they set up a group, because there's like a group that you can do through CPS, and the Google admin will set that up for you. If you go
So is
to
that still manually done? Like, does that require?
No, you don't have to. You don't. Yeah, you don't do it. The Google, it's like an IT team that does it for you, and it's called groups.google.com. And when
I have a question for Virginia. Can't you do that through Aspen? Because I know our AP has sent emails to like the teachers or students and parents through Aspen.
Yes, probably. But what if I want to send like a welcome back to school today? It's going to be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, who knows that I hired John Smith and adds them to Salcedo's? Like, I don't use Aspen for all my communication. Maybe I'm not being clear.
I know for on the STEM side, we have like the groups, and then somebody from IT like puts the stuff in. Like, we have the science group, math group, all STEM group, and we don't put that in there. Like, somebody else, like it, but you have to fill out. It's like a short.
There's a form
thing. I can send it to you separate, but you fill it out, and then they'll like set that up for you. That's all I know.
Well, if there's anyone from like Lane Tech or Jones or these giant high schools, I'm really curious how distribution's managed, where I don't have to remember to pick up the phone every time I hire someone or someone leaves, or me or fill out a form, I guess.
All right. I will keep that on my mind and see if I can get the answer, but I don't know right now. Christina?
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
To answer that question. To your point, there's a way that IT can help you set up the larger list. As you get new people, you have to be set as an administrator for that group to add new names. So I work with LSC Relations. We have a distribution list of about 5,000 LSC members. And as we get new ones, I can manually just add the new ones on myself, but you have to be the admin on that group list. And it's super easy to add a name or two as you get new people to come on staff. You can call me. I can walk you through it.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, sorry, really quick, on Aspen, there's a staff tab, and you can click all active staff and then just select all, and there you go.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
All right. And Christina, you have patiently been waiting. What's your question?
I'm just waiting for just one more chime in for Virginia's. But I have a question. Could you just show the pathway to create a group again?
Within context, sure. So if you're in your context, you can go to context.google.com, and then like you can either create a label. So basically you're adding a label to the contacts you already had. So you could either import a list. So you can go to search, you can like import a pre-made list, and once you import that, you can just add that label, and whenever you send an email, it'll go to that group, or you can manually like add each email or copy it over. So as you can see, like these are all labels. So I just for my list, I just imported it from a spreadsheet I already had, and then I assigned them to the label. Because once you have them in, you can like quickly search for that group and then just add a label to them. Then basically once you have that group set up, you just send the email and you can search for them. Like if I put all right away, that group is going to pop up, and then every single person in there will get the email. You can put it under BCC, but the separate thing that Virginia was talking about is like you have to go to groups. You have to go to I think it's like CPS. It's either google.groups.com, but it's like a separate CPS groups like thing that's managed by ITS that's like separate. And that's when you have like super large groups. There you go. David got it. David Cisco. Thank you. It's like you got to go to the CPS one, and once you get it set up, you can it's easier. As far as I know, that's like the most recent version of like the distribution list, but I could be wrong. If you have the appropriate ODA permissions, I think, yeah, but they'll give it to you. Okay, guys. Oh, sure. Okay, so we are at 2:59. I wasn't able to finish the content, but I will keep going. If you like to stay, feel free. But that was everything. If you could put it in the chat, just for that question. So anyway, so for the oh, you're welcome. So the last piece is just about Google Forms and more. So if you want to learn how to use Google Forms and calendars to your advantage, this is where this section comes in, especially Google Drive. I like Google Drive a lot. So in your Google Drive, keep in mind, it also is a filter and search system. So the same way that you filter and search in your Gmail, do that within your Drive. Don't waste time looking for things. So if you're in your Google Drive, these are just my little shortcuts that I like to use. So for Google Drive, the first thing is just search. So let's start. So I always start, I don't look through the list. I don't come over here. I feel like workspace and activity is just AI. Like this random workspace thing is like AI trying to figure out what they think you're going to work on. I don't use this. The main one that I use is recent. So if you're trying to find something you just worked on, I just start at recent, and then if I can't find that, I just search. So if you put, let's see, if you put like Google, oh man, okay. And then I like to put the quotations. So if my thing is kind of slowish a little. So if you put Google and then you search, it's gonna bring up everything that has it in it. But then I like to search by type. So if you knew it was a spreadsheet or a presentation, it just saves time. Just search by that and you'll probably find it. Or if you know who made it. The main thing is if you're not the owner of it, it is not going to show up under your drive. The only time it shows up under your drive is if you made it. If you didn't make it, it's going to show up under shared with me. Anything under shared with me, you cannot delete as well. So I wasted one summer, I was like, I don't want to see these kids' names. And I went through and deleted tons of stuff under share with me. Guess what? It's not going to go away because the only thing you can delete is my drive. So that's one thing. And then anything that's really important, just make sure to star it, just like you can do with emails. So use this little sidebar to star things, to add collaborators. It's just quicker. You can also add filters, just like I showed an email to your drive, and that just saves time. For the sake of time, I'll take questions after I'm finished, just because I just want to make sure I finish for the people that don't have questions, and then we'll take questions at the end. So those are some of the components for like Google Drive, just to keep in mind. And then also, I like this feature up here. If you need to work offline, you could click that and you can work offline in your drive. And if you're someone who's visual and you find by seeing, you can click on this, and sometimes I'll change to grid view and then you're able to like see it. Whereas if you're here, you're going to just see it as a list. And then this here lets you know, like, if I click on this is a quick way for you to know like who was in the document. When was it last open? Like you can find out information about a document in a quick like preview without actually, so the activity was loading, but you can see like, oh, I was in here today at 12:30. So that's like a quick way to like see what happened in the doc without having to fully open it up. And last but not least, go to your settings. If you don't want to receive an email that lets you know that Michelle shared this document with you, turn off that notification. You don't have to I randomly still get it, but just turn off the emails and you won't get this person shared it with you. You can turn all that stuff off if you want to. So that's my main like thing for Google Drive. And then for your Google Forms, some of this stuff most people know, but you can import questions. That saves so much time. Like import questions from other forms you already made. Like if you have a form and it's like name, employee ID, email, you can save those questions automatically on a new form instead of like retyping them. Forms always auto saves. Not as many people use the pre-filled in link, but if you have a question that you already know the answer to, you can create a form where that question is like already filled in. Like for instance, if you're sending a form to only 9th graders, you can have like their grade already filled in, or like the date already filled in so they don't mess like that up. And then keep in mind with the settings, you can set up settings so that your Google form responses will send you a notification every time you get like a new person that fills out the form. So those are my little like hacks with Google Forms. Google Calendar, again, same. Remember, everything with Google is set up to be a search. So if you're looking for when did I meet with Colleen, like all you have to do is just go into your calendar and search for her name, like search for the person's name, and that's all you need. And then it'll bring up anybody who had that name, any date. You can just search for it quickly. You can search throughout other calendars. And then again, I always recommend go to your settings, turn things off, change the view from month to week. Whatever makes you feel like more comfortable. If you feel overwhelmed going into your calendar, that means you probably need to turn something off or change something so that you don't feel so like overwhelmed. Can you say more about pre-filled in links? Yeah, I'll talk about anything I covered like after I just get through the content for the people who might want to exit out. So for the game changers, these are the things I use all the time. Docs.new, slides.new, you can just type this in and it'll generate that product. Like even sites.new. If you type in forms.new, it'll make a new form. Sheets.new, it'll make a new sheet. And it just saves time and it automatically saves to your drive. Use smart chips. If you're in a Google Sheet, if you type that @ you're going to get like any documents, you're going to get locations, you're going to get people. If you just put the @ in any product that you're in, like for instance, let's see if I have a doc. So if you put in your docs.new here, and then you have a smart, but you can do this in a sheet too. If you put the @ and you start like typing my name, it's going to pull up like anybody that has that name, any people, any like timers, task. It'll pull up building blocks. It'll pull up files that have it. And usually if you don't type anything, it's like the most recent files you were in. And then it'll type in like what it thinks the calendar invites you need. But you can modify the search and then it's going to pull up even more like specific things. So use smart chips. You can use those in docs. You can use them in sheets. I know those two, you can use those, and you can use them in chat as well. You also, whenever you have a calendar invite, if you have the pre-made like contact list, when you make a new calendar invite, you can use that contact list when you make a new like event. If you have that pre-made list within guests, you can, just like I did with an email, see how it came up, my pre-made list, and you can like, it will put them in your calendar invite. So that's why once it's over 500, I believe you need to make a group. But if it's under 500, I believe you got to do a contact. But you can, that's above my pay grade to be honest. But I mean, that is my recommendation. Make those contact groups. And then you have bookmarks and tabs. Don't forget to pin your tabs. It saves you time. Use your bookmarks. You can group bookmarks. And then I love version history. It has saved me so many times, and it's almost on every single Google product. So if you lost something, you can't find something, use the version history and it'll come up. I would love your feedback. I'm sorry that I'm a little bit behind time. I really don't like to do that, but we did have some questions, and I feel it was helpful. So if you have questions, I will stay here. This is our website, STEAM Schools. Check us out. We have design challenges on there. We got you can learn more about like what we do with our STEAM and STEM schools. And then we also have a newsletter that we put out monthly. So that's everything. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a great start to your school year. And now I will take any questions that I have. You're welcome. Miss Covington, then Ayena is the last name, but I don't want to say people's name. But go ahead, Miss Covington.
How are you? Thanks again for your time and all the information. I didn't want to bring you all the way back. If you could just walk me through how to create a template real quick.
Sure. And I think Ms. Jennings, I see your question in the chat, so I'll come back to you. Alexander was in here. I'll come back to your question too, Ms. Jennings. I don't want you to feel ignored in the chat. So I'll do Ms. Covington, then Ms. Jennings. Okay, so we're doing the templates. No problem. So the first thing we want to do is go to our settings, and then we're going to go to see all settings. And then we're going to make sure we go to advanced. Then we'll click on advanced. And then once we go to advanced, we're going to click on enable templates and make sure that's on, and then save the changes. If you don't do that, it won't come up. So once you have that set up, then you're just gonna, now sometimes it's hard to come up with a random template, but after you've sent the same email 5 times, it's time to do a template. That's the best measure I can give. Just make the template. So then if you're sending late today or something, you're gonna put the subject of the email, I am running late. Now this is something that Joy sends definitely more than 5 times. And so if you're gonna, then you have this, okay? So then you're gonna go to the 3-dot menu, more options. And when you go there, you go to templates, and then you save it as a draft, and you save as a new template. Whatever you have in the subject is automatically gonna be the title, or you could change it. That's up to you, your prerogative. And then you click save. So once you click save, you have the template. But keep in mind, let's say you don't want this is just a little hidden gem. If you don't want your email signature to show, you can always click on this little pen, and it will give you the option to take away your signature. Or some people have multiple signatures, and you can like add them. So I can say no signature, bow is gone. I can go here, I can put the signature on there. So that means now when I have this template, my signature will be on there. So keep that in mind, because it'll show up twice if you automatically like put your signature on there. But anyways, so now I have it written. So I'm just gonna close out. And let's say I'm sending this for the 6th time. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna use my templates. I'm gonna go to templates, and I'm gonna go late today, and I'm gonna put it in. And the only thing you need to add is who you're sending it to. And you just literally click send. Oh, okay. My bad. I just said that. And then I didn't do it. Okay. And then you click send. And then once you go to the email, bow, bing, boom, it's going to be Joy Blake. Bow, late today. That's it. Would you like me to show you how to do it in your Google Doc, or would you just want to stick with email? I can show you both. I had no problem.
That would be great. Thank you.
Oh, sure. No problem. So if you're in a Google Doc, I like to use this because you always will have that email. So if you send the same welcome email every year, I would recommend doing it in a Google Doc, because you can just like always have it. So that's and anybody can edit. You can share it with people. So if you just hit the @, it's 2 ways. It's going to just show up like this. You can also hit the @ and put email, or you can go to insert building blocks email draft. Okay, so I'm gonna go there, do it that way. And then we're gonna put late today. And then you're gonna put, I am running late. And then, like for instance, you could put who you want it to go to. blind copy, I'm going to send it to, but if I click on person, it's just quicker because I can just click it and it's going to go to Joy Blake. And when I click on, so here, if I want to, I can share the, oops, you do have to name it like a Google Doc. So a lot of times I'll be like, welcome back email draft. So I can always find it and I know what it is. And then once it's named, you can share it with like different people. So if let's just share, I'll share it with my personal email. So if I share it and now I click send, now if I'm on my personal email, I can come into this and like make edits. So if I switch now to my personal email and now see I have access to it, or if I go here, let's see. If I go to my personal email, you'll see that it'll say like Joy has shared this with you. And now I can go in and like make edits from different spots. But anyways, now that you have it, you're just gonna click here, and when you click the little icon, it's gonna create an email for you, and it's gonna have everything you just had. And all you just need to do is go ahead and click send. That's it. Or you can schedule send, and as you can see, like I don't have my email signature here, so I want to make sure to click on my little pen and bow. There's my signature back. And I just click send. And that saves a lot of time. I love that. Okay. Let's go to Miss Jennings. You are next. You're in the chat. Miss Jennings, are you still here or did you leave? Thank you. I understand. Okay, Miss Jennings.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, Miss Jennings. Your question was about the pre-filled link.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand more about the form being partially completed.
Sure.
Because I'm a diverse learner teacher, so I'm thinking about it in terms of those lines. So yeah, I just wanted to know more about what you meant. I was looking through the deck and I saw that there were certain things that I guess you kind of touched on, but didn't go into a lot of detail because of time.
Yeah,
so
no
I just wanted
worries.
to know more. Mm-hmm.
So if you go, so let's go to a new form. So if you go to forms.new, and then so I'm just gonna open up a new form or whatever, and let's just give it a title. Let's say demo. Okay, and it'll just go here. And then you can go to the 3 dot here. And when you go to the 3 dot, it says get pre-filled link. So I'm gonna give you an example. So let's say, let's just make grade. Oh, this is weird. Let's just make grade as a pre-filled in thing, and we can make it. Let's just add freshman, and let's say we want junior just to be filled in per se. So you would go to get pre-filled link first, and it's gonna like open up a whole new tab with a whole new Google form because so basically it's 2 links. You have the link of the original one where it is not filled in, and then when you click on get pre-filled in link, that's gonna make a new form that will have it filled in. So if you click on get pre-filled link, see how it opened up a new one. I'm gonna have juniors already filled in. And then I'm going to click on get link and see if you see at the bottom, I make sure I copy that particular link. And when I click copy, now when this one is like opened up, juniors will be filled in already for the person or whatever you like, whatever the question is. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
I love it. Yes, thank you so much. That's so helpful.
Sure,
I did not know about it. Just so you know, you're like my spirit twin. So I just really love using Google to take advantage of it for teaching. But I did have 2 more questions. I can wait for the other people that have been waiting.
Yeah, I will let the other people ask, and then I'll circle back around. But could you raise your hand? Then I can keep track. That helps me. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Is it Tanya? How do I say your name? But you're next up.
It's Tane.
Oh,
It's
Tane. I knew I was saying your name.
Yes.
I knew it.
Wondering, and you didn't go over this, but when you were talking about deleting several things in the email, how do you delete several Google Docs at once? Because you in Skyline, when you open it, everything you open in Skyline is now in your Google Docs, and I cannot seem to find out how to just wipe it all out at once when I'm done.
Okay, so if you're in your Google, okay, so if we're in, great question. If you're in Google Drive, let's go to, I'm not actually going to do this because But is it like a part? Like, okay, now you got my. I'm trying to think of the quickest
Your
way.
Google Docs, all your Google Docs.
Okay, so if you go to docs.google.com, that's the website for just docs. So only docs will show up here. And then if we go to, let's see, I wonder, now I've never done this, so just be patient. I know how to do it from Google Drive, but I believe, I wonder, can you, ooh, no, you can't. Because I was going to say, if you could, let's see, own by me, switch it to that. And then, ooh, okay. Well, my original plan was to see if you could delete like from here, but I kind of knew you couldn't. The only way, unfortunately, yeah, there's no way to like in your drive outside of like the right click outside of it, and then you can like mass highlight like that. And then when you mass, so I would recommend like finding a similar title, search for that title, mass highlight, and then just click delete. And they'll be gone. But you can't like just, or you could just go by like type and then put docs there, and then it's gonna only pull up Google Docs. And then
there you go. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. And like a little secret to help you find stuff in your drive, people don't know, is like whenever you make something new, and if you want to find it quick, just put like a punctuation in front of it, and it'll always go to the top. So if it's like a new folder and you're like, instead of putting like STEAM schools, if I put STEAM schools under this folder, it's gonna go all the way to the bottom. But if I put like an exclamation mark in front, it's gonna go right to the top. Now I'm gonna find it every single time. Just a little hint. See, there it is. Okay, next question. Let's see. Rosemary, you're next.
Hi, Joy.
You're
Thanks a
welcome,
lot.
Isan.
When you create an email, how do you go about to make it urgent so that the person know this email is urgent?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. So when you send a question, when you send it out, I know I'm trying. I don't know if maybe somebody on the call, because the only might know a different way. My way, I think, is a little bit like not the quickest way, but the only way I know how to do it is just literally to put urgent in front and then hope they open it up. I don't know if there's a way to like make it so that it's urgent and they have to open it. I do not know how to. That is a great question. I have not encountered that yet. I do not know. Great question. Yeah, because all I do for urgent emails is I literally put urgent and then I'll put like an emoji with the like fire alarm, but I'm sure that's not like not with the fire symbol, but I'll put like some kind of emoji but I know there has to be a quicker way. I just don't know what it is. Great question. Does anybody know? I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. I don't know that one. Okay, next question. Let's go with Letitia, Miss Dillard.
How you doing, Joy? Thank you. Question, and I'm sorry if I missed it. Can you show me in the Google form how I turn that notification on so I can see every time someone has completed the form?
Sure, great. Okay, I'll show you how. You did not miss it.
Okay.
All right, all right. So I'm just gonna show you from like a form I already made.
Okay.
But if you, let's see. Oh, and the Omni box at the top is a search engine. I should have said that, but I was forget. Let's see. Let me see. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to find like a form.
No problem.
Okay. Not so many. So let's say I want this. This is the best. Oh, I can use this one because this is one example. So this one, I want to know, did people go to the Skyline session or whatever? So the first thing is you have to go to your responses and you have to make it into a Google Sheet. So you can't do it from within Google Forms. You make it into a sheet. You create the new Google Sheet. And then once you're in Sheets, that's where you can set up notifications. So now I'm in Sheet, and then I'm going to go to Tools, and that's where notification settings are. Tools, notification. Oh my God. Tools, notification settings, and you can edit like the notifications. Like, do you want it to come every day when somebody does it? Do you want it as soon as your user submits? Like, you want it right away? Because if you do daily digest, it's just going to send it to you at the end of the day, basically. So if you want to know right away, then do like right away.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. All right, next up, Miss Bishop.
Good afternoon. I have two questions. So the first one is, are we still able to get Google certification through CPS? And the second one is actually from your previous one when you were talking about how you could survey or poll the kids. And I know this is not the same session, but I know
it's fine.
Over time. So, like, do the students have to be signed into the document, or how would they be able to do the poll?
Okay, great question. So for the first question, that's no longer my jurisdiction. I only provide Google certifications for my STEM and STEAM schools, teachers and staff. But I know the ITS department has had one, but it was only for central office staff. The person you would reach out to, I can give you their email though. The person you would reach out, their name is Jessie Steffens. And if you just search her email, come up, she'll be able to tell you about that for staff. And then for the second question about the poll, you would have to like make them all editors on the doc. They couldn't like just view it and vote. They would all have to be like editors, shared as editors, and then they can like vote.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. That's a great question. Miss Jennings, you're back. What's your question? Miss Jennings.
Hello, can you hear me?
Thank you, Miss Smith.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry. I'm like logged in two different ways. But I just wanted to know more about breakout rooms. I saw it on the slide concerning Google Classroom. Yeah, Google Calendar. So I have two questions. Google Calendar, breakout rooms, and then the bookmarking of folders under your Game Changer slide.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to know more about what it meant and how it works.
Oh, sure. Okay, great question. So first of all, for the calendar, there's a couple of ways. So within, this is one. Within the Google Docs, there's a building block that's called, if you go to Insert, Building Blocks, Calendar Event Draft, you can pre-make the calendar invite in here, but you cannot add the breakout rooms, but you can pre-make the breakout rooms when you make it. As far as I have never used this feature, but I have heard people talk about it. I just don't do it. But if you add the Google, once you add the Meet, I believe there's a way within the settings here to do the guests and do the breakouts like that. Does that make sense? Did that make sense? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you just go on, but you have to make sure to add in the Google Meet. If you don't, then you just it makes people get lost. And that's also where you can like make somebody else like a host. So then that person can like let people in, delete, mute people, stuff like that. All right. And what was the second question, Ms. Jennings? It was two questions.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the second question concerned bookmarking folders. That seems to be related to game changing.
Yeah, that's just mainly about like, okay, your bookmarks are up here. If you have like a favorite website, let's say I know a website I really need to bookmark, which is my my team's website. I still don't have that bookmark. So, but I share it a lot. So first you find a website that you want to save all the time, and then you make sure to star it. Once you start it, like for instance, right here, this is my timekeeper. So when I need to punch in or check my time, I can just quickly go to that website. It's going to take me there. But once you find a website that you like, you start it, and then you go to the 3 dot, and then you can go to bookmarks and lists. And then you can bookmark the tab, of course, but once you have it bookmarked, you can go to bookmark manager. And once you go there, I don't have a lot of them, so it's not the best example, but I know that you can like edit them and like put them into folders once you have like a lot. Because some people have like a bazillion down here. And once you have like a whole bunch down here where you can't see them all, you can start putting them into folders and like group them and stuff like that. I just don't have the best. I can only show you the path. I can't show it to you in real time right now. Sorry about that. But I hope that helped. Okay. Judith?
Hi.
Hi.
So my question has to do with the templates. Let's say I wanted to send the same thing over to different people. Is there a way in the email, in your Gmail, that it will, like, I don't know if you create like a blind group blind group list, and then as it sends it, it auto populates for like, let's say Johnny and Susie, does that make sense?
It sounds like you're more talking about a mail merge. So
I don't want, so I know that I want to send the let's say the same email, right? To Johnny, and I wanted to say like, good morning, Johnny, and whatever else the email's in, my
you wanted to like auto populate the person,
right? And then so I want to send it to Susie and to
that's like a function. So like that's a function of like a mail merge. So Google doesn't have it. Most people, when they hear mail merge, they think it's like for like 100 people, but some of those features are just in a simple. You could do that for like 10 people. Google used to have it, and I don't know if CPS just stopped paying for it, but it used to be down here, but they took it away. So you do have to use like a mail merge app. Like they said, Yam is a good one. Yet another mail merge. Autocrat has that feature. Form Mule has that feature. And the only thing is that they have like a limit on how many you can send each day, but you'll probably never hit that limit because it sounds like you're not sending like a lot. And then you just have to create like the spreadsheet. So for instance, that's the most intensive part. You make your spreadsheet, like it would have to say like student name, or maybe you want like student first name because you said Johnny, hello Johnny, and then maybe you want like all the data you want to be generically populated needs to be a column. And then once you have that set up, you just will go to your extensions. Excuse me, I use Autocrat and Formule. I think I'm going to try Yam though, because a lot of people have said that. But you can like just go to get add-ons, and when you go to get add-ons, you just search for it, and it's probably yet. There we go, and then it'll come up. But the main thing is just setting up that spreadsheet. Once you have that, you just it'll auto populate, and you'll get to preview it before it's sent. So you don't have to worry about like Johnny getting Susie's or like something random like that.
Right. Okay. All right. I guess I'll try and play around with it. Thank you so much for all the information. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Have a good school year.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Are there any more questions? Okay. Well, you're welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question. Question about photos. Go ahead. Is it Tina? Miss Harris. Let's go with Miss Harris. What's your question? You're welcome. Have a good school year. And then Miss Clark. Oh, Miss Clark, you put your question in the chat. I forgot. Is Tina still here or question about photos? Okay, Miss Harris. She said thumbs up. Miss Harris, what's your question? Oh, can you please add me to the queue to follow up my question on the G Suite toggling from personal to professional on photographs? Okay. If you're trying to toggle between, okay, this is, I'll just show me. So if you see like first of all, your photos, let's start here. So this is the main, like my main Google page. You can always find your photos just within the waffle here, right? So if I click on it, any photo that pops up will be like a work-related photo. So this is randomly my brother, if you can tell, but this is still like, and that's my son. Look at my son. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry. So if you go to your photos, this is just going to be any photos I save under my Gmail. But if I switch here and I go to Joys of Blake, which is my personal, that's where you'll find like photos. Like that's my daughter. That's where, look, she was a baby. That's where you'll find like your personal pictures. And if you want your personal pictures to go to your school, you have to share them just like a Google Doc or a form or something like that. Did that answer your question? I don't know.
Hi. No, it doesn't, because what's happening is it's automatically, if I use my camera and take a picture with my phone,
yes,
it's automatically saving it to my CPS Google Drive, which I have not directed it. So I literally can't, when I go to my Google Photo Cloud, which is where I try to have my pictures are supposed to automatically go there so I can keep storage on my phone free. I've noticed, and it just started with the recent update of Google, that now all of a sudden, all of the pictures that I'm just taking with my phone automatically saves to the Google Photo folder for my business. And I've been thinking, like, do I need a business phone now? Because it's automatically doing it. And I've been deleting them off of the CPS Google Drive, but then I'm like having to make sure that it's being saved to my cloud because it's not happening. And I also notice that when I'm using Chrome on my phone or even Firefox, I'm getting prohibition notifications about content that I can't see. And I think it's directly because of my Google Suite with CPS. Like I'm not able to use my phone like it's my phone. It is my personal phone. It is not a CPS device. But as of the last update, I'm getting all this prohibition and it's automatic to CPS, Google Drive, and Cloud. Has anyone been complaining about that? I use an Android. It's happening.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Harris. I was muted. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back, Miss Harris. Miss Harris, what type of phone do you have?
I have an Android.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that it's doing it since the last update. And I'm not ever going to be an iPhone user. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I have a Google Pixel. The same thing happens a lot. What you have to do, it happens like a lot. You have to, and even if you like change it back, it'll like still keep doing it.
It'll default, right?
Yeah. So basically, what I've found is that I just go into like my settings, and then you like just like how I just showed you how to switch between on my computer. That's the same process you have to do on the phone, and then all those photos will go like to that email address. But sometimes, even if it's like, yeah, sometimes it'll switch on its own and you'll have taken like 20 pictures. And unfortunately, whatever one it's under, you just have to like send them over and then keep switching. I don't know if it's a way to make a default like email that it always saves to, because it switches like even right now. it switched on mine to my personal. I had it on another one, and I always have to click like manage account. And
Okay.
there's like an option like manage account on this device. And I think that's how you do it, but
yeah. Well, that's
I
how I've
don't
been
know.
doing it, but it's just, you know how you take a picture on your phone
Yeah.
and then you're like going to your cloud to make sure that it's there. And then I'm looking, I'm like, oh, there's no pictures here. Then I go back to my Chicago Public Schools photo cloud, and all my pictures are there, and I don't want it on there. So now I'm having to try to move it back to my Gmail account.
That one I don't fully know because I
Yeah,
have
it's like it wasn't like that before.
Yeah, I have
It
the
just started
same
with the recent
problem.
update.
Yeah, that one I had the same problem, so we kind of in the same boat, Miss Harris. I have no solution for you. I'm sorry on that.
Oh no, that's fine. That's what I've been doing, but I was just curious since if you knew if there any other hack to
If I randomly
make
find
it
it,
stop, because it's like
it's
it's
pretty
my own
irritating.
personal phone. I don't want to be looking for my pictures from on my work email account. If you
That's
will.
fair. I hear you on that. Okay,
All
Miss
right, thank
Clark.
you.
Oh, no problem. Miss Clark, what's your question? Miss Clark. All right.
Okay, I'm getting off of mute. Here I am.
Hey, Miss Clark.
Hey, Joy. I was trying to figure out how do I clear up my email as we are about to start back school. I have, emails from school years gone past, and how do I clean that up so that I can have a clean slate this year? Or, like you were talking about with some of your pictures, some of my emails that I've had that are personal goes through my CPS because they saying that I'm monitored through CPS email. So I want to clean that up for this year so that I don't have all these extra emails, and then I can find the ones that I'm supposed to be looking at.
Okay, well, I hear you on that. The one, if it's your CPS email, you really don't got to worry about like getting rid of anything almost because it's just going to automatically delete after a certain amount of time. But if it overwhelms you and it's just like too much, then I would recommend first like rearranging your Gmail setup and like changing the setup to be unread first so that you don't have super old emails mixed in with like new emails and then it's like confusing. So I would start there, and then there are like random apps and extensions that'll like mass delete, because if it's your personal email and it gets too full, like you'll run out of storage. So, but with your CPS, you'll never run out of storage. So it's almost like one of those, if it's not bothering you that much, you can literally just let it go to a bazillion if you want, because you'll never run out of storage and it'll just get to auto. But I would rearrange your inbox so you see like new emails first or like important ones first, or you can like bulk delete. Like if you really like that's what I'll do. I don't want to do it now but you can like click on this. You see how you have this, but you can click on this and you can literally just click all, or you can click like all unread, and then just like click delete, and it'll delete all of them. And then it'll give you like a warning message like, do you want to delete 5,608 emails? And you just say yes, and then boom, you're done.
Wow. Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Right. So the first one was to read the unread first.
Yeah, change your inbox so you don't. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. So then this will probably. So what you probably have set up, which most people do, is the default. To me, the default like really sucks. It's like really bad. So if you have the default set up, it's gonna give you your new emails, but if you get behind with emails, old emails are gonna see how this just went up to 2,833.
Right.
So that's the default setting. So like old emails are going to be mixed in with new emails, and then you're going to be having a hard time finding the emails.
Right.
And it's just going to make you feel overwhelmed. That's why I don't like it. See how like this old emails mixed in with new? It's just how
that's what happens.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like it. So I would go to settings, and then instead of putting it on default, put it on unread first. And any email you have not read at all or opened at all will show up here. And any email that you have read will be down here. It won't be counted in your total. So you won't feel, because now really, instead of having 2,833 emails, I really only have 87 that I haven't read.
Okay.
Yeah. It just makes you feel better. I don't know. That's just me.
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
As always.
I'm glad to hear from you.
You too.
All right. Well, guys, I'm sure you're all pondering on more questions to ask, but I have to get my children. I have to go. You can always join my sessions tomorrow. I'm doing the exact same session tomorrow and on Wednesday. So I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great school year. And now I'm going to you're welcome. Remove you from the call. Miss Kelly, she's from McCutcheon. Hey, Miss Kelly. Okay. Sorry. Have a good day.
No, sorry, I was here.
How you doing today?
Good.
Good. I'm glad you came. All right. Well, I'll let you go on and go.
All right.
Didn't mean to
Have a
shout
good
you out
night.
like that.